Hey everyone, this is Caroline Fisher with Alignment Tree Design Studio, and I am just showing you your portal for the business app that you get from us. And I'm here to show you how to use our local SEO product. So we're actually in the back of the Alignment Tree Design Studio business app here, and on the left hand side you can see all the different products I have plugged in already. But what we're going to be looking at today is actually the local SEO and helping you get your page set up. So just click on local SEO and it's going to bring you to this page, and we're actually going to hit launch. And it's going to start asking you to connect to certain accounts, fill in information, and where you're going to want to start is doing your business profile. So you're going to want to edit your business profile and add all the information here, hours, your website, your service area, descriptions. I always kind of put a bit of a description here, but you can also use our AI application here to give a description too as it scans your website. It usually has some good suggestions, and so you can go in here and it'll give you really good suggestions. Any images, your logo, your social channels here, and yeah, so you just go in here and add all this information, really important: phone numbers, emails, also your hours, and also the payments you take. And the other really important thing here is the services you offer. In this section here, you might have a lot of services, or you might just have one thing you specifically focus on. So this is where you're going to want to put this in here, and you're going to save it. So you're going to go back to your overview here, and you see the menu here on the left hand side. There's quite detailed, but it also has some other areas here. So once you have your business profile set up, we're going to go to your listings. And this is where you're going to add in your Google business page, Facebook, Instagram, X, Bing, Apple, if you happen to have it. If not, it will try to find it for you too. So Bing and Apple sometimes is a directory you may not have set up anything, but what it'll do is it'll look at Google and you can say, please duplicate this. This is really important because this is what Google uses to make sure your listing is accurate. Google gives points away from you when they're sending your information out there. If you have the wrong info, like a phone number or email, or there's an error on the address that's slightly different, you want to make sure it's consistent across everything. So it's going to let you know, and it'll actually flag it saying, hey, here's where the inconsistency is this correct? So that's where this really helps, because having your online presence consistent is what's going to help you get higher rankings in SEO. So you can work on this part here. Then next year, you're going to see this additional sources, and there's quite a list. So with the local SEO, it just shows you what these are. And what Google does is they actually look through all these different directories, and they see if your name is in there. And if it is, they'll put a ranking here, a listing score and status and all this kind of stuff. And if it's up to date or if there's some errors. With our local SEO, making sure your name is not on here. It's not included in this package, but you can get this where it lists everything. So you would just click on here, contact us to get a quote, and it's called the Yext listing. That's another add-on, but sometimes you may, if you are on some of these directories, it'll show up in here, and that's good. And while you're thinking, why would I want to be on these directories? And I asked the same question. There's quite a few here, but Google scans these to see, oh, you're important. I see you on here. I'm going to actually pop you up on our Google pages. So that is why this might be a service you want, that will just get your name and your company more recognized. So that is a reason for here for additional sources. But if your name is on some of these, it will show up in this listings. Contact us if you want to have the Yext listings, and we can get you a quote and easily add it in here. So that is your listing syncs. So next we're going to go back to our overview here, and we're going to go to keyword tracking. Now this is a really neat tool. You're given 15 keywords that people are going to use to find your services. And you're going to see here, these are the ones for myself, my company. I have 15 of here. And I've been playing around with them, and testing them out, and you can see some things are happening here. If you're asking what the NR stands for, that means not ranked. So it takes time for this to really kind of go through, sometimes up to 3 months. But there was some keywords I saw that weren't working, but you're going to add your keywords here. And the neat thing here is they're going to have suggestions too. And you can play around, see what works best. But I'm just going to show you when you hit the keyword here. We're going to do the SEO experts. And what's really neat is it gives a grid of a 50-mile radius of your business, and it ranks your competitors that are offering the same services. So we're third here. That's actually pretty good in the area. And you see us here as third. And that is awesome. So that's what's really neat. It gives you a ranking on what your competitors are doing. And you can click on another word here. We're actually second on this one here. So that's really good. And some of them I'm red. And that's where I also look here what's trending. So see, the words it's always changing. And every week this system updates itself. So that's why you want to take a look at the keywords that you have. And you say, you know what? They're just, nothing's happening with them. You can actually delete the word and then go and add a new word to replace it. And I've done that. I look at this once a week, and I always kind of try to update it and see what's going on, what's working, what's not. But you do have to give it some time for the system to look at it. And these words are what people are going to be looking on Google to search for you. So that's what the importance is here. And it's always kind of changing and updating. And yeah, just take a look how they're doing. And I want to show you one thing here with your settings. If you click on the icon gear, you want to put your settings. You can choose what miles you want. I did 50 miles. For me personally, I think it's better to do a larger scope. But if you're a company that really just serves, let's say, in a 10-mile radius, then just do 10 miles. But that is where that setting is, where you can change what the scope of where you're working. And that's why it's called local SEO. So that's really neat. So that's in that little gear there. Make sure it's at the setting you want. All right, so we're going to go back to overview, and we're going to go to my listings next. And here it actually kind of shows you a visual of your business, and you can add a bit of information here too. Managing, you can change the theme. You see how I've got yellow. You can add some other information, some photos. You can actually change a bit of information on here. So that's what that is. But it's showing your listing that should match with your Google business page here. All right. Oh, we are going to go back to our local SEO launch. And we have another area which is really neat on here is the citations. So a citation is where there's another website that has mentioned your business and has your website link in. And this is really important because Google sees this, and it actually gives you points and pops you up higher on the Google listings. So the more citations you have, the better. So let's say you wrote a blog for another company, that's going to show up on here. Let's say you're part of a big affiliation of a group, and they have your business listed on there, that's going to show up on here. So wherever your company name is listed on a directory, or like another company where they're saying something about you, it'll come up in here. And this is really good to have this and to see what's going on. And this is actually where you can actually go to, let's say, a company you do a lot of work with, say, hey, do you mind posting this blog, or just that you work with me on our website link? That will show up here on citations. And lastly, we have analytics. This is where you're going to take a look at how things are going, and it's based on Google and Bing. And it's just being a little slow right now. But this is where you're going to see your kind of the data on how people are contacting you, where they're coming from. And so you can set the days, you can choose different times here on when you want to take a look. But you see here where Google Maps, Google searches here, and you wonder sometimes, oh, it peaked here. That could have been a social media post you had that got people wanting to know who you were and searching for you. So it's kind of neat to look back, and you can actually maybe look at, if you have the Social Marketing Pro product with us, you can actually then see this data matching. And so you're going to know what's working, what's not. And also phone calls that came through from Google, from your Google business profile. Customers are taking action through here. And so this will show here. Also, it'll show Bing. My Bing's not quite properly connected, so I'm working on that, but the Google is what's going to really show here. So that's a local SEO. That's an overview and the power of it. I look at this once a week. I see how my keywords are doing and I keep an eye. And if I see one that's just like, it's not really moving, then that's kind of telling me maybe I should use a different keyword and see what the suggestion is. And it's a powerful tool. And like I said, this is going to help people find your business and the services you want instead of your competitors. Have a great day and thank you for listening.